You wake up and, before you even check your phone, you already feel behind. Someone your age just sold their company, someone younger just published their book, someone with less experience just got the promotion you wanted. And somewhere in the back of your skull, that voice starts up again. What is your purpose? What is your passion? What is your personal legend? That phrase, that poisonous, seductive phrase that Paulo Coelho planted in millions of heads like a beautiful parasite. I need you to understand something before we go any further. The Alchemist is not an inspirational book. It is an anxiety generation machine wrapped in pretty paper. It is the literary equivalent of someone telling you that you are destined for greatness and then walking away, leaving you to figure out what that means while you are just trying to pay rent and remember to buy toilet paper and not have a panic attack in the frozen food aisle because you are 34 and you still do not know what you want to be when you grow up. Paulo Coelho wrote this book in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. He has said this in interviews with the kind of pride that makes you want to throw something. And it shows. Not in a bad way, exactly. It shows in the way all fables show their bones. Simple, clean, unnervingly confident. It reads like someone who has never doubted himself, never stared at a ceiling at 3 a.m. wondering if everything he believes is a comforting lie. He built a story where the universe is a sentient, benevolent force that rewards you for wanting things hard enough. He sold us the idea that we are all protagonists in our own epic tale, that there is treasure buried somewhere with our name on it, that if we just listen to the omens and follow our heart and abandon the comfortable life, we will find it. He sold us the crushing, suffocating idea that we are meant for something more. Let me tell you what that does to a person. You are working a normal job. Maybe you like it, maybe you do not. Maybe it is fine, just fine. But you read The Alchemist, or someone quotes it at you, or you see it on Instagram over a sunset photo, and suddenly fine is not enough. Fine is failure. You are supposed to be chasing your personal legend. You are supposed to be abandoning security for the grand adventure. So you start looking for signs. You start wondering if the universe is trying to tell you something. You see patterns where there is only coincidence. You feel guilty for being content. You feel like a coward for not burning your life down in pursuit of some vague, shimmering destiny that you cannot even properly articulate, but that you are absolutely certain you are supposed to be chasing. This is what the book does. It turns ordinary life into a waiting room, into a place you are supposed to escape from. Santiago is a shepherd. He has a good life. He travels. He reads. He has his sheep. He likes his sheep. Then he has a dream about treasure. And instead of saying, weird dream, and going back to his life, he sells everything and walks into the desert because an old man told him to. The old man, Melchizedek, king of Salem, who might be God or might be a scam artist, tells Santiago about the personal legend. Everyone has one, apparently. It is the thing you most want to do in the world. And if you want it enough, the universe will conspire to help you achieve it. The universe conspires, like it has agency, like it cares. Like the vast, cold, indifferent expanse of space and time is sitting around waiting to assist you with your startup or your novel or your treasure hunt. This is the foundational lie the entire book is built on, and we will come back to it. But first we need to talk about the man who saw through it. The crystal merchant. He is barely in the book. Santiago works for him for almost a year. He is a side character, a minor obstacle, but he is the only person in the entire story who understands the actual, physical reality of being alive. He is a Muslim man who has always dreamed of going to Mecca. It is his greatest wish, his personal legend, if you will. He has the money, he has the time, he could go, but he does not. He will never go. And when Santiago, young and stupid and full of fairy tale logic, asks him why, the crystal merchant says something so devastating, so true, that it almost breaks the spell of the entire book. He says that the dream of Mecca is what keeps him alive. It is the reason he gets up, the reason he tolerates his shop and his routine. If he actually went, if he achieved the dream, what would he have left? The dream would be over. And then what? Then he would just be a man who runs a crystal shop, with nothing left to hope for. Arriving is a kind of death. Do you understand what he is saying? He is not a coward. He is not failing to pursue his personal legend. He is smart enough to know that the pursuit is the point. That the gap between where you are and where you want to be is the space where you get to feel alive, where you get to feel like your life is building towards something. Close the gap and you are just standing in a new place, alone with yourself, realizing that you are the same person you always were. The treasure does not change you. Arriving does not fix you. The crystal merchant knows this. He has made peace with wanting without achieving, with longing as a sustainable state. He has turned his unreachable dream into the engine of his daily life, and that is not sad. That is wisdom. That is the kind of thing you only learn after decades of being alive, of watching people chase things and catch them and then look around confused, asking, now what? Santiago, of course, does not understand this. He is young. He is the protagonist. He is in a fable where everyone who stays put is weak and everyone who chases their dream is rewarded. So he leaves the crystal merchant and continues his quest, and eventually, through a series of increasingly ridiculous coincidences and mystical nonsense, he finds his treasure. But here is the thing. The treasure is buried back where he started, under the tree where he was sleeping when he had the first dream. He had to walk across a desert, get robbed, work in a crystal shop, join a caravan, meet an Englishman obsessed with alchemy, meet an actual alchemist, fall in love, nearly die several times, and turn himself into wind, literally turn himself into wind just to learn that the treasure was at home the whole time. The lesson Coelho wants us to believe is that the trip was necessary, that Santiago had to become someone worthy of the treasure, that the personal legend is not the destination but the transformation along the way. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. If the treasure was at home, the universe did not conspire to help him. The universe played a prank on him. It sent him on a completely unnecessary quest that almost killed him multiple times just to teach him a lesson he could have learned by staying home and reading a book, or going to therapy. But that would not make a good fable, would it? That would not sell millions of copies. That would not give people a reason to quit their jobs and travel to India to find themselves. The story only works if you accept that suffering in pursuit of a dream is inherently noble, that the pain of seeking is proof you are on the right path, that if it were easy, it would not be your personal legend. This is the logic of every toxic self-help guru, every multi-level marketing scheme, every exploitative creative industry that tells people to work for exposure and be grateful for the opportunity. If you are struggling, it just means you are not there yet. Keep going. The universe is testing you. Except the universe is not testing you. The universe is not doing anything. It is not conspiring to help you or to stop you. It does not know you exist. You are a collection of cells on a wet rock spinning around a medium-sized star in an unremarkable galaxy, in an unfathomably large universe that will continue expanding long after our sun has died and taken everything we have ever known with it. The universe does not care if you find your treasure. It does not care if you follow your passion. It does not care if you die having never achieved a single thing you set out to do. And this cold truth is so much more liberating than anything Paulo Coelho ever wrote. Because if the universe does not have a plan for you, you do not have to find it. If there is no grand destiny with your name on it, you cannot fail to live up to it. If your life does not have to mean something, you are free to just live it. You can be a shepherd because you like sheep. You can work in a crystal shop because it pays the bills and you like your boss. You can have small dreams, local dreams, quiet dreams. You can dream of Mecca and never go, and that can be enough. The crystal merchant was not a cautionary tale. He was the hero. He was the only person in the book who was not lying to himself. Santiago ends the book rich and in love and enlightened, and it is completely unearned. He is rewarded not for wisdom or virtue, but for blind, stupid persistence in the face of every signal telling him to stop. He is the protagonist of a fairy tale, and fairy tales are not blueprints for living. They are fantasies. They are the stories we tell to make randomness feel like destiny, and that is fine. Fairy tales have their place, but The Alchemist does not present itself as a fairy tale. It presents itself as a guide, as a truth, as the secret to living a meaningful life. And millions of people have read it and believed it and made themselves miserable trying to find their personal legend, trying to decode the omens, trying to make the universe conspire in their favor. I have watched people quit stable jobs to chase passion projects that failed. I have watched people move across the world for opportunities that evaporated. I have watched people tear apart their lives because they were convinced they were meant for something more. And then I have watched them try to rebuild in the wreckage, confused and ashamed, wondering why the universe did not hold up its end of the bargain. And the cruelest part is that they blame themselves. They think they did not want it hard enough. They think they misread the omens. They think they were not worthy. They do not blame the book. They do not blame the lie. They blame themselves for failing to live up to a fantasy. There is a specific kind of exhaustion that comes from being told your whole life that you are special, that you are meant for greatness, that you just need to find your purpose and everything will click into place. It is the exhaustion of constantly searching for something you cannot name, of feeling like you are failing even when you are doing fine, of looking at your life, your actual life with its small joys and mundane struggles, and feeling like it is not enough because it does not look like a personal legend. It does not look like a story someone would write a book about. You are not turning yourself into wind. You are turning yourself into someone who can pay rent on time and remember to call your mother and maybe, on a good day, feel okay. And that does not feel like enough because Paulo Coelho and everyone like him has told you it is not. But what if it is? What if the quiet life is not the consolation prize? What if the crystal merchant had it right? What if the dream of more is enough to sustain you, and you do not actually have to burn everything down to chase it? What if you can want things without needing to achieve them? What if you can be content without being settled? What if you can live a small, meaningful life without a grand narrative, without a treasure, without the universe giving a single damn about whether you succeeded or failed? What if you are not the protagonist? What if you are just a person, one of billions, trying your best, failing often, succeeding sometimes, living in the gap between who you are and who you wish you were, and finding that the gap itself is where the living happens? The Alchemist wants you to believe that there is treasure waiting for you, that you just have to be brave enough to seek it. But the real treasure, the one Coelho accidentally buried in his own story, is the crystal merchant, standing in his shop, alive with longing, sustained by a dream he will never touch. He is the only character who has figured out how to live without answers, how to want without needing, how to exist in the permanent state of becoming without the violence of arrival. Santiago learns nothing. He starts naive and ends naive, just richer. The crystal merchant starts wise and stays wise, and no one notices, because wisdom in this book looks like giving up. So here is what I want you to take from this. You do not have a personal legend. You have a life. It is probably smaller than you were told it should be. It is probably quieter. It probably does not involve turning into wind or finding buried treasure or having the universe conspire in your favor. And that is not failure. That is just being alive. The pressure to be extraordinary is killing us. It is making us miserable, anxious, ashamed of our own ordinary existence. We are so busy looking for omens that we are missing what is right in front of us. We are so convinced we are meant for something more that we cannot see the value in what we have. We are all Santiago, wandering in the desert, when we should be the crystal merchant, standing still, dreaming of Mecca, and finding that the dream itself is enough. You do not have to go. You do not have to seek. You do not have to find your purpose or chase your passion or discover your destiny. You can just be. You can work your job and love your people and read your books and tend your sheep and let that be your life. Not the prologue, not the waiting room, the life itself. The universe is not conspiring to help you, but it is also not conspiring against you. It is just there, indifferent, cold, infinite. And in that indifference, there is freedom. You are not special. Neither am I, neither is anyone. And that means we do not have to be. We do not have to earn our existence by achieving something great. We just get to exist. Small and brief and totally insignificant in the scale of everything. And somehow, that is enough.